Good morning. Hi, I'm Richard. Here we are again on Monday morning. And what does that mean? Another lecture, right? This time I've chosen kind of I don't know if it's a controversial subject or if it's just one that's really interesting to me. Because I think about this a lot. When I was a kid, I was about 11 or 12, I think, and my cousin got a hold of a little tape recorder. In those days, it was a cassette tape recorder. That's a long time ago. So I said, "Hey, why don't we tape ourselves singing? That'll be really cool." I liked a lot pop music of the time. So we got this little cassette machine, and we put on one of our favorite records, and then we started singing like an early karaoke. We started singing to the song. And I was like really excited. I thought, oh, this is going to sound great. Maybe this will go directly to the record companies. And we'll be like new recording stars. And then I listened back to it, and it was terrible. I mean, really terrible. We sounded horrible. And I remember thinking at that time, it's useless to try to be a singer. I have no talent. And that was one of the biggest mistakes of my life. It was a conclusion I made that's not based on science. It was based on sort of a false idea that we're born with talent. You have talent or you don't have talent. And I'm here to dispel that myth that you have talent or you don't have talent. This is not something that we find in actual science and actual experience with people. Now, talent obviously exists. People have capacity. They have a natural feel for something. But this idea that you can't develop talent over time, this is the wrong idea. You have the talent or you don't have it. No, you can develop a lot. So this is the illusion I want to break today. We notice this a lot in the language classes. So there I am. Of course, you know me. So I want to ask you this question. How important is talent if you want to be really good at something? What do you think is the importance of talent? Good morning, Nadir, Rosa, Seluza, Edeleni, Masami. Many of the people are just commenting here in the chat. That's really great. Great to hear from you. Great to hear from you. I'm glad you're here. How do you think you would answer this question? Scale of 1 to 10. How important is talent if you want to be really good at something? What do you think? 10, 8, 9, 7.5? What's your idea? Give me some idea in the chat there. Just put in what you think. If you want to be really good at something, how important is talent? What do you think? And the teacher waits for the response. This is doing this online is such a difficulty because we don't have this instant response. 20%, 3 of 4, so 75%. 20%. William Girardi, 1%. Okay, William, maybe it's a little bit more than that, but I appreciate your sentiment there. It's not so important. Right, so we have 3 or 4%, 20%, 10%, 1%. All right, so you're getting some idea that talent is not so important. Masami says, in my humble opinion, I think that talent is a natural gift. Of course it is, Masami. It's a gift that we have from God. We're not responsible for our talent. We're only responsible to develop our talent. But if you want to be good at something, how important is talent in that picture? 20%, Rosangela, 0%. Rosangela, that's following more or less what I'm thinking about here. Talent as a necessity for being good at something is probably pretty low on the list. Obviously, if you have talent, good for you. But you're going to have to develop a lot if you want to improve that talent, if you want to make that talent at a good level of something. So to be good, talent is not that important. If I say to you guys, well, all of you, you're like much better in Portuguese than I am. Your Portuguese is a much higher level. Does that mean that you have more talent for Portuguese than me? Or that I have more talent in English than you? Of course not. Nothing like that, right? But people make this mistake, especially people in Brazil. They think that if they don't speak really, really well, it shows that they're not a good professional. They don't speak really well in English. It shows that they're not a good professional. And this is totally not true. Development in the language is something that happens over time. Sometimes our whole lives, right? We're developing, improving. Okay, so here's an athlete's perspective. Michael Jordan. I'll put this in Portuguese too and read it for you in English. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career, arremessos, né? I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Look at that. So what is he saying, entre as líneas, here? That the success of a guy like Michael Jordan doesn't come from his talent. It comes from his attitude, from his work ethic, from the mentality he has. Let's say he takes a shot, the game-winning shot, the last shot of the game, as Kawhi Leonard did for the Toronto Raptors a couple of seasons ago, right? The last second, he takes the shot just as the buzzer sounds, and the ball hits the rim 1, 2, 3 times before it drops in. Right? Let's say that Michael Jordan took that shot, or Kawhi Leonard, and he missed. What's going to be his attitude? Man, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to practice that shot 10,000 times more. So next time I have an opportunity, maybe I'll have a different result. He doesn't think, oh, I have no talent, I can't do it, don't give me the ball, especially in the last second. There's another mentality going on. There's a mentality of work, of compromiso, commitment, dedication, right? So this is something that's really important to understand. Here's another athlete, great one, Kobe Bryant, just died this year. You have to work hard in the dark to shine in the light, right? People always see the final product, right? They see the musician on stage. They don't see all the blisters on the fingers, all the frustration and difficulty and challenge of learning a new piece. This they don't see. They just see the finished product on the stage and think, oh, that guy has so much talent. Not about talent. It's another thing, isn't it? Just like if you're learning a language or learning anything, you need to dedicate yourself to it. You need to put yourself in action to do it, to learn it, to practice it. When you never give up, Nadir says, yeah. The big secret of learning English, I talked about a secret of learning English, of great communication. Great communication was service. You know the secret to learning English for you guys? Just don't give up. Just come to the classes. Don't stop. That's how you learn. Many people, they stop just as they're starting to get successful. Scientists this time, now you've heard this one, I'm sure, many times, Thomas Edison. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, what you call transpiração. That's a great comment. That's a guy who tried, 900 times to create a light bulb? Was that what it was, Felipe? 900 or something? 900 times to create a light bulb. And he always said that after he failed, he said it wasn't a failure, it was one step closer to success. So that's why talent has very, very little value in terms of your ability to do something. It's nice if you have it. If you have it, thank God and then use it, right? What makes us develop is not about our talent. It's another factor. So here, what happens if you think you're smart or if you think you're talented? Here's the thing. Talent hard work, capacity. If you have this talent and you begin to believe you have this talent, you're going to actually restrict your development. It's better to think that you don't have that much talent and you're more a hard worker. Let me show you why. This is a really interesting study that was done by an American psychologist named Carol Dweck, her name. She did research with 500 grade 5 children. Grade 5 is Série 5, I guess, in elementary school, right? It's like 10 years old. So, 500 of those kids, they gave a series of 4 tests. Any of you who've studied with me probably have heard this story before, but stay with me because it's really relevant to see in this context. Series of 4 tests. Test number 1 was a test of simple puzzles. Quebra-cabeças, no? They gave these kids the test, said do the test. The kids did the test, gave it back to the teacher. The teacher marked the test and then gave it back to the students. The only thing was they gave it back with feedback. 6 words of feedback. They wanted to test if the feedback had any impact, what they said to the kids, if that had an impact. Not the results of the test, but the feedback that they got. All right? So, half of the kids got this feedback, 6 words of praise. You must be smart at this. And I just want to emphasize that this feedback had nothing to do with the result on the test. Okay? It was aleatorio, totally random. So the kid would do the test, the teacher would mark the test, give it to the kid and said, you must be smart at this. Or, you must have worked really hard. Okay, so imagine that you must be smart at this, you must have worked really hard, you must be smart at this, you must have worked really hard, just like that. Totally aleatorio, nothing to do with the results. They wanted to test what was the impact of this feedback on the kids, a type of praise, now, elogios. Okay, you got that? 250 kids received feedback that they were smart, and 250 kids got feedback that they worked hard. Let's see what happened. Then, oops, wrong button. Then the teachers gave a second test. Now you have a choice. Hard test or an easy test. Now you can choose, kids. All right? They have a choice. What do you think the smart kids chose? The hard test or the easy test? What's your idea? I'll wait for some responses here. Smart kids. Which test did the smart kids choose? Hard test? Oh, you're waiting for the slide too. There we are. Very slow. All right, Jessica, the hard test. Nadir, easy test. Marina, the easy one. Masami, the hard test. Anna Lou, the hard test. Yeah, of course. I'm smart, right? I'm a smart kid. Give me the hard test. That is the normal understanding. If I'm smart, I want the difficult test. But that's not what happened. 67% chose the easy test. Now, that surprised the psychologists, as I think it's going to surprise you. Why would a smart kid choose an easy test? That's interesting, isn't it? Leonardo, the hard test. No, Leonardo. Masami, no. Anna Lou, no. Siluza, no. They chose 67%. Obviously, 33% chose the hard test, but the majority of smart kids chose the easy test. Why? They don't want to risk losing their smart label. Imagine I'm a smart kid. Now I do a hard test, and I don't get such a good result. Suddenly I'm not smart anymore. Now see what happens. So if you think you're smart, if you think you're talented, you will not risk losing your talented label. Etiquette, now your NAMI. If I think I'm smart, I'm not going to risk putting myself into a situation where I might not be smart. Now, this is really what happens with people in English classes, maybe other languages too, but I notice it in English class. They come in with an opinion of themselves, and suddenly their results are less than that. This makes it very, very difficult for them to deal with that difference. Lidar, no? It'd be like me saying to you guys, yeah, I'm a pretty good tennis player. Played a lot of tennis when I was in Canada. I got pretty good. And I liked the game a lot, and I think I was pretty competent. I used to win a few competitions, and I played pretty well. And you say to me, hey, our friend Masami, he's a really good tennis player. Why don't you go play with him? Opa. Maybe Masami's better than me. Maybe I better be a little careful. So I'll make up an excuse. That's a great idea. Got a little pain in my shoulder this week. Maybe we could get together next month or something. I'll call you, right? I'm resistant because I don't want to risk losing my opinion of myself. So here's a big danger. If we think we're smart, if we think we're talented, and that's the end of the story, we will stop ourselves from developing because I don't have talent in this. Like I said when I was 11 or 12, I don't have a talent for singing, so I stopped. Big mistake. What about the hardworking kids? What do you think they chose? Federico, I'm surprised, thought the opposite. Yes, Federico, as did the psychologists. But now, what about the hardworking kids? What test did they choose? Now, you should have an interesting observation here as you make some comments. Hard, Alexandra, chose the more difficult test, right? Any other comments? Hard, Josangela? Yeah, now you're getting the idea, right? I'm not very smart, but I'm hardworking, so give me the challenge. Give me the desafio. But if I'm smart, man, I better be a little careful here. Maybe I'm not going to be so smart on this hard one, so I'll take the easy test just to make sure that I'm still smart, right? Leonardo, they chose the easy test, probably to demonstrate that they could get more correct answers than with the hard test. No, it's exactly the opposite, Leonardo. It's exactly the opposite. 90% of the hard-working kids, 90% chose the hard test. Why? Because I'm up for a challenge. I work hard. I'm dedicated. I'll keep going. I don't stop. The smart kid, cuidado here. You see how interesting it is. The hardworking kids have nothing to lose, less expectations from others. Nino, thank you. Less expectations from themselves, actually, my friend, right? I'm not that smart. I'm sort of normal, but I am hardworking, so I'll work hard. Give me the difficult test, man. I'll go. I'll try it. You see the difference. Now we come to remember I said a series of 4 tests. The third test was very difficult, impossible to do. What was the reaction of the smart kids? How did the smart kids respond to this test? Well, you can imagine, you're smart. Suddenly you have a very difficult test, and you start to see that the answers are difficult as you're looking at the test. What's the idea that comes into your head? Geez, maybe I'm not smart anymore. I thought I was smart on that first test, but now maybe I'm not. No, I can't do it. No, I'm no good at this anymore. I can't do it. I thought I was good, but I'm not. You go from here way down to the bottom. It's a huge reaction that happens of rejection. The person has no tolerance for difficulties, no tolerance for seeing that they're not that good. They give up very easily. Think of how many times you've started and stopped language class or any kind of class. You start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. This is what you're facing. You're facing this illusion of yourself, this image of yourself, and the reality. And this distance, this difference is difficult to aguentar. If you think you're here, but actually you're here, it'll be very difficult for you to tolerate that difference. Whereas if you're just a normal, I'm just a hardworking guy, I'm not here, I'm not there, you'll go, you'll persist much longer. The hardworking kids persisted much more, did not get discouraged. Here's the interesting thing. They were like Thomas Edison. They didn't see the difficulty as a fracasso, as a failure. They didn't see problems as a defeito. They saw problems as a challenge, just like Edison did with the light bulb, right? 900 experiments to get one que deu certo. That's a very low percentage, right? Do you see the difference? So, if you think you're smart, if you think you're talented, or you think you have to have talent to be good at something, you are limiting your possibilities because you won't persist long enough to see success. You'll give up very early. Desistir muito rápido. Interesting, isn't it? Now, fourth test, right? Same level as test number 1. All right? The same level as test number 1. What happened to the kids? What do you think happened to the smart kids? Now, the smart kids, of course, it's not necessarily that they're smart. That's the feedback they got. That's what they believe about themselves. I'm smart. That's what the teacher told me. I'm smart. What happened when they got the same level of test as number 1? What do you think happened to them? I'll just wait for some comments. Masami, you wrote a good, interesting comment here. Saint Superi wrote, man is measured before difficulties. When you face difficulties, this is how you medir, the character of a person, is how you deal with difficulty. And a smart or talented person may give up easily. Okay, so what happened for these kids? Well, you could be thinking about that. Maybe there's a couple of observations you want to put here in the chat. But here's the actual result. The smart kids had a 20% decrease in their results from the first test. The same level, but they did 20% worse, 20% pior. Now, that's pretty significant. And by the way, the psychologists were totally surprised by this. And this happened within the space of a couple of hours, giving these tests, right? It wasn't done over days. Within a couple of hours, the kids had gone from this result to 20% less just because of their belief that they were smart. Hardworking kids, 30% increase in results. So, if we think we're talented, if we think we're smart, cuidado. It's much better to think you're sort of average. Okay, I'm not so smart, but I work hard, and I'm prepared to develop myself. I'll dedicate myself to it, but I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Marina says, it's so important for us to understand. It also applies, for example, when I get nervous because of an important meeting, speaking in public, etc., etc. It's because of the fear of failing. Marina, actually, thank you for your comment. It's excellent. Actually, our fear is not fear of failing. It's, well, failing in a sense, but it's fear that we will not reach the level that we think we should. We won't reach our level. We won't be able, we'll be here when we want to be there. This is the problem. The problem is we don't face this. It's not that we're really afraid of success. It's that we're afraid to confront our image of ourselves. We're afraid to challenge the image we have of who we are. We want to stay in our idealization and not deal with reality. This is the biggest reason that people stop new development. English classes, music lessons, dance, whatever it is that you're doing, even psychotherapy. People stop because they can't face the difference between their image of themselves and the reality. They have a difficulty with that. So, we're actually not afraid of failing. I guess we're failing in terms of not reaching our level. We're afraid to see our mistakes, our difficulties. We don't want to face those. That's why Masami's comment is so interesting. Man is measured, the character of a person is measured when you confront a difficulty. That's where you see what your character is. Some people just give up. Other people continue and go and go and go until they become successful. Interesting, isn't it? So, Erasmus of Rotterdam said, if you want to make a person crazy, praise him. Si elogiare, elogialo. Praise him. If you want to make a person crazy, give him praise. And this is praise for intelligence, for talent, for beauty. Many times we say to little girls, oh, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful. We say to young girls and boys, little children, we say, oh, you're so intelligent. My son is brilliant. My son's a genius. He's so creative. I have a friend who has a school for kids. And she said the first day of school was always interesting. The parents would bring the kids to the school and then say to her for the first day of school, right? And then say to her, listen, could I talk to you personally for a minute? And my friend, who was the director of the school, would say, sure, of course. Yeah. And the parents would say, look, my son Roberto is, he's brilliant. He's very, very, very intelligent. But he's very, very sensitive. So could you take a little extra care with him, to help him a little bit? And she would always say to them, yeah. Deixa comigo, no? Because everybody thinks their kid's the most brilliant thing on the block. And our kids are wonderful, of course, but we should not be praising them for talent. Don't praise them for beauty. Don't praise them for intelligence. Praise them for work. You got a good result on the test because of your work, because of your dedication, because of your focus, not because of your talent, not because of your brilliance, your intelligence. Because there's always somebody more intelligent, right? We need to learn this. We need to understand that we're successful because of our work, because of our dedication, not because of our talent or our brilliant mind, right? Dr. Keppe says in Decay of the American People, Americans have long been accustomed to hearing nothing but praise about their country and themselves. Certainly, they have built the strongest nation that ever existed. But because of all this praise they have received, as the famous Latin proverb goes, there's nothing worse than praise. They have not perceived that they are undergoing a serious process of degeneration. Undergoing, right? Passando por un proceso serio de degeneração. Right? Dr. Keppe perceived perfectly. If you start to think you're the best and you start to believe in that, what happens if you're faced with a real big challenge? Right? It's better to think, well, okay, I have average intelligence. I have some intelligence, but I'm a hard worker. Give me the challenge. Give me the hard job. So somebody just wrote here, Fernando just wrote about action. Action, man. Yep. Claudia Pacheco says, we don't have these kinds of things called talents by themselves. She even goes so far as to say, a gente não tem talento por si. Talent is work. If you do things with repetition, and you train yourself, and you exercise a work, then you become good in what you do. But in order to be good, you need to do. You need action, and you will never be good enough before you start doing. Never will you be good before. Most of the time, we're not even good durante. por un tempo. And then we get good. Look at how you learn Portuguese. 1 year, 1.5 years, sometimes 2 years listening, trying to speak, right? Coming up with words. It takes a long time for you to perfect the ability to speak in Portuguese. It takes me even longer. Huh? But over time, with practice, training, wanting to speak, wanting to communicate, a gente consegue. We manage. English, Portuguese, Swahili, Chinese, Mandarin, doesn't make any difference. It's all the same process. Everybody takes time, and then they start to go, then they start to develop. By the way, did you know that every baby born has the physical capacity to make every sound of every language in the world? Every baby born has the physical capacity to make every sound of every language in the world. The language we learn is the language we hear. That's why we learn it, right? But you could take a baby born in Brazil and take him to Africa, to a Swahili family, and he would learn Swahili perfectly, right? Or Portuguese or English. We have all the capacity. That means I can actually say, when I was a kid, a baby, I could say cabeleireiro. Now it's impossible, but I could when I was a baby. I had the ability to make those sounds. And you could say the word world. You could make those sounds as a baby. What we learn is what we hear, is what we practice. That's what we learn. Nothing to do with talent. Nothing. Now, if you have talent too, fantastic. Go, develop. But work. You'll have to work to become good. Even with talent, you have to work to become good. In order to become good at something, you need to start doing. And as soon as you do that, you'll see many, many difficulties. That's because you don't know anything before you start. You learn with practice. Anything. That's why diplomas don't mean anything for a good professional. In fact, you learn how to work when you start practicing, and then you will see how you know nothing, or you know so little. And that's what Marina was talking about in her comment, right? The fear is this, the fear of seeing that we're not as brilliant as we think we are. So we take the easy test. We don't play tennis with the person who's better. If you're a boss, you don't hire people who are better than you. If you're a sales manager, you don't hire the best salespeople because you don't want to see people better than you. So you become mediocre, you limit your capacity, your possibilities. All because of your belief system, your mindset, not because of your talent, not because of your capacity. You limit yourself because of what you believe about yourself. Yeah, you can think about that for a second. So, this is what we do in our school. We work directly with this, educar, educação para desenvolver o mundo. We teach 8 languages online, and we use this methodology, by the way. We help the students enter into reality and try to deal with these illusions that you have about yourself, these fantasies, these idealizations of yourself. Enter into reality. You're just a person learning a language. You're not smarter or worse than anybody else. You're the same as everybody else. Let's go. Let's start speaking and developing. Okay, this is what we do. So crazy. Nino says deep. If we think we're the best, we don't develop. Yes, Nadir, that's really important. If you think you're brilliant, be very careful. We say in English, when an actor starts to believe what people write about him, he's in big trouble. You start to believe that you're super talented, brilliant, incredible. Cuidado. That's the beginning of the end. Person goes down. This is what we do in our language schools, right? Therapeutic method. Why? Discover the key to speak another language. The key is in exactly what we're talking about today, right? These are our courses. This is what we do in our school. That's our language school. We have our university with the same mentality everywhere. In our college, in our language schools, in our lectures, workshops with people. We try to help people to understand, to deal with reality. Just do that. If you do that, you'll grow. If you start to think you're better than others, you'll be more mediocre. Mediocre. Tenebroso, no? For any of us who are a little bit perfectionistic, was my big challenge in Portuguese, was to descer from this pedestal, of being a brilliant communicator, great talent, descending and entering into the world of eu vai, a gente vamos. Entering into that world was the difficulty of learning the language, not Portuguese. Descending, entering into reality. This is our challenge. The benefits are incredible. Students receive benefits not only in language, in their health, in their confidence, their professional development, their health, even their relationships. People develop a lot. Look what one student said about Fabrício. Foi como material desta escola e como as aulas do professor Fabrício Biliotti que hoje eu me dou muito bem aqui na Nova Zelândia. There we are. Beautiful, isn't it? That's our work, you guys. Thank you. Now, what I'd like you to do is make sure you register your name in the information in the YouTube, okay? Where you have the place to get more information. There's a form there. I want you to fill out that form. We'll send you a free ebook. I haven't got it available now. We're producing it now, but it's about the habits of highly successful people, the psychological habits of highly successful people, where we talk all about this subject. So you have more information about this topic, okay? So make sure you get registered there to receive this free ebook. I'd love you to have that. And I'd love you to come to the school. Come and study with us. We'll help you in all areas of life, okay? So, thank you. I'm very happy to have you with me again on Mondays. It's a great pleasure, and I hope that was useful for you. And I'll talk to you next time, okay? So, bye-bye for now.